Okay, so it's been about 25 minutes and let's see how this thing is doing. Don't let the seam fool you. Because I can tell that, yeah, it needs about 10 more minutes. So, let's put this back on. And as I said, about 10 more minutes. Okay. So, as I mentioned, West Virginia. There are 3 slices of heaven that I've driven through. One is New Mexico, which I saw back in 1995, and well, if you're driving eastward, then you have well, Arizona, of course, has its places, but nothing along I-40. You know, it's like desert, black and white, and then suddenly you see the sign that says New Mexico, and suddenly Technicolor. You know, you got the redness, you got the plateaus, you got the mesas and everything else, and the amazing topography, and you have the Indian radio station from, you know, Gallup, New Mexico, because it's Navajo reservation, and another slice of heaven is Wyoming. And we've all seen all that, you know, all this bumper stickers saying stuff like, you know, love the earth, love your mother Earth, and we do not belong to the earth does not belong to us, we belong to the earth, and all the stuff that some people call, you know, tree hugging hippie bollocks. And you drive through there and you see all the buttes and you see all the plateaus and, you know, of Wyoming, and it looks like all those epic films of like pioneers and, you know, westerns, and just see all that, you know. Well, you're driving through and you expect to hear an orchestra of string music and oh, I get it. So all those bumpers were not tree-hugging hippie bollocks, because you drive through there and the first thing that comes through your mind is not, hey, let's pave this with concrete and put a whole bunch of super malls and other... Unfortunately, I heard that that's what happened to Manhattan. Anyway, third slice of heaven. If West Virginia was a band, the backside, the easternmost portions of Kentucky would be a good opening band. A good opening band. West Virginia, the first thing I saw, this is back in 1999, was a nice place to look at, and there was also a cop about, well, let's see, there was one about a mile in front of me, there was one about a mile in back of me, there were a bunch in the spaces in between the directions, and is this literally a police state? But outside of that, it was really nice landscape. And then, of course, there was a time as I mentioned in the last segment, there was the scary driver. And then when I came back, I thought I was dealing with the scary driver again, but I wasn't. And then I said, hey, wait a minute, look at this place. And this time there was not a cop every, you know, mile or two. And I noticed that endless sea of mountains, well, mountain peaks, and it seems kind of like an oxymoron to say sea of mountains. I mean, is it sea? You know, as an ocean, like the Red Sea or the Caspian Sea? Or is it mountains, which is above the sea? Maybe it's the sea of mountain peaks. Endless seeing of mountain peaks. Maybe like the Sea of Rome. Anyway, So, and of course, you think back to, well, maybe not think back, imagine back to 200 years ago when people were going, westward, and as the crow flies, there will be the, well, this is 20 miles, right? But you would have to go, and now you're going not just with a backpack, survival kit, like maybe a tent and a gun to fend off scary bears. You also got your family, you have all your things, and I imagine there's three kinds of people who went through. There's those who try to get through it as quickly as possible and say, I'm glad I'm out of there. There's probably some people who said, screw it, let's just stay here. And then there's some people who said, wow, look at this place. Let's just stay here. I like this. And so campsite became a campground, and a campground became a community, and a community became etc. and so on and so on and so forth. And thus you have West Virginia. So, as I mentioned, I went there for the Thanksgiving right after my 40th birthday. And get to my hotel room, and a few doors away from me, there's somebody sitting there. And I noticed the car says Interceptor on it. Last time I saw a car that said Interceptor was Mad Max, played by Mel Gibson before he was known as a psycho. And I'm walking down the street, and of course it's late night, and it's kind of cold, and barely anything is open. But there's this alarm over at a restaurant that is going and notice I don't even hear a siren. One side of me gets the idea of waiting around to say, let's see how long it takes for the cops to show up. The other side of my brain says, let's see. Alarm going off, nobody around, cops show up, you're there. Hi folks, how you doing? Yeah. What are you gonna do? Spend Thanksgiving in the slammer? Oh yeah, you're right. Hey look, a bar. And it's open! So, that's how Thanksgiving went. Oh yeah, and I also stopped at the gas station across the street, which was tied in with a certain fast food restaurant to have my Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not gonna mention what name it was. Anyway, the next day, excuse me, I was walking, first I started going through all the channels on TV because, wow, cable, and look at all these channels. And there was this children's program, kind of like Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers, and only it was for deaf people, and I said, oh, this is interesting. And, I used to watch a show called Say It With Sign, back in the 1980s, and I said, well, maybe I'll just watch this show. And the other side of my brain goes, you didn't drive 6 hours in one direction just to watch TV. Oh yeah, I gotta go and explore. So I'm walking down the road, and it's kind of cold and it's kind of crisp outside. And there's like one snowflake, going, and a few blocks later, and I get to this bridge that's about 3 miles, well, I had to walk about 3 miles down and to get across the bridge over this river that was going over Charleston, or through Charleston. And it's cold, and there's like the occasional snowflake, as I mentioned. And so I'm on this bridge, and I'm taking a few pictures, and suddenly, rain, freezing rain, hail, sleet, snow, everything, wind, and it feels like like somebody's taking one of those air blower things, like leaf blowers, only it's full of like gravel and sand. Get off the bridge, suddenly everything's cool again. Strange bridge. And I noticed one of those drugstores, one of those corner drugstores. You usually only see this in movies. It's like 1950s or 1960s, where you go into the drugstore and you get your prescriptions, and you can stop at the little counter where they have the or you could get a slice of pie and a coffee, or a burger, or a hot dog, or maybe a malt, and the checkered floor and the stools. You usually see this in movies and TV. This place, Charleston, West Virginia, actually still has one of these places. You're actually walking into what you've only seen in TV and movies. This is what traveling is about. To see and actually be in what you've only seen or read about. And so I get my coffee, and it's 1,000,000 degrees, so I just let it sit and cool, and marvel at the fact that I'm in this place where, you know, I've seen it in a movie, I've seen it in TV, I've read about it in the books, but I've never actually been to one. I didn't think these places existed anymore, but it did. And so I got to experience that, and you know, when I went to the bar that I mentioned earlier, unlike when I was in Ireland, where I would just walk into a pub, hi, can I get a pint of Guinness? Yeah, thank you. And oh well, you know, I'm just gonna do some writing now. And this time it was like, hi, my name is Chris, and you're so-and-so. Oh, far out. Can I get a blah, 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 blah? I'm not mentioning any products here. And, hey, what's your name? George? Far out. I'm Chris. Sam, how you doing? And, so how's your night going? You know, it's much more fun. Yeah, and, yeah, so that's West Virginia, and the next day I went to the museum. You know, and I saw all sorts of historical things, and you know, was able to come home, and I had a very interesting time. It was good travel.